Hey guys, welcome to another commentary done by Diggity. This is going to be game 2 of the upper bracket. I think it's upper bracket round 4 or 5, or it's one of these upper bracket numbers. It'll say on the title and hopefully be correct. I think I ended up casting these out of order, but that's all right. Upper left hand corner, Artosis starting as the hot pink Terran. Bottom right hand corner, we got Gypsy starting as the blue Terran. This is going to be on retro, which 3 bases are easy to, so 1 base and usually one of these bases with the ramp lines, and sometimes the 4th base. Decent, you know, are achievable. This base right here, a little bit more achievable than wandering all the way out to this 3rd out here. So basically, sometimes 3 bases are easy to hold, but that 4th base can oftentimes kind of be a stretch, and that's in a lot of these matchups. And so it makes for a little bit more aggressive mid games, and can be very, very interesting as a result. I am almost on. I'll be curious if Artosis wants to field the same strategy, actually. In this match that he did with Neo Dark Origin, I think Gypsy just did a fantastic job of recognizing the scenario. And I'm wondering actually if Artosis dropped the 2nd supply depot or put some cruft at his natural expansion, left a siege tank there to blockade, or something along those lines, like 2 siege tanks, moved the other siege tanks out earlier to go for a mine, and tried to stymie the vultures before the mine coverage. If the siege tanks would have gotten overwhelmed, or if he would have been able to, I think Gypsy just played it solidly is what it came down to, and it was great execution. Barracks being built to the corner, by the way. Barracks being built to the corner. I'm expecting gas from both these guys, and actually, never mind. We got a gas down from Gypsy, a little bit later gas from Artosis, not by a large margin. But anyway, if you honestly, it's just it's fun to watch that execution in those matches every once in a while. Every once in a while, TVT is really fun. It's a slog sometimes, but every once in a while, it's just like, wow, this is really, it really is kind of a fun positional, and it has improved because it hasn't. We're past the days, hopefully, of just absolutely bland early and mid game, straight into late game, and nothing else beyond that. Gypsy scouting across the lower edge here and making his way to bottom left. Artosis making his way to top right. So both players will come across. This is cross position, which could punish aggression both directions. Supply depot built alongside. Interesting, deciding to build that supply depot right alongside that barracks to potentially save time. An initial marine is queued up. We have a factory down as well. Barracks out. Supply depot instead behind that edge, and a factory out as well. That's twice I've seen that. I kind of like that actually, because it's kind of an early supply depot to scout later, just in case of drops and things like that. It looks like it might be 2 marines queued up here. Only a single marine out for Artosis, which will be of benefit at cross position, I believe. And I'm curious if Artosis is wanting to go the initial vulture this time. So finds Gypsy's base. Gypsy not going to expose his SCV to any damage right here, but what he might wait for is that vulture to make its way out to see the timing of it, and to potentially try to sneak into the base to get some scouting information then. In the meantime, factory up. Do we have a, yeah, we got a vulture queued up right there. Factory a little bit slower here for Artosis. He's going to get an earlier command center though. And the SCV is going to be able to go ahead and sneak in as Artosis went to the low ground. And he's going to be able to, first of all, spot the factory, see the SCV off gas there on the main, and get a little bit of information here and there. So a little bit of a lighter SCV count here for Artosis, but a faster command center by a few moments, which should even, well, theoretically even things up. And he also got a good look at, okay, the Marine Vulture count, and at cross positions, I don't expect Gypsy to get aggressive with those 2, with the bonus Marine he's got. Machine shop dropped by both players this time. 2nd factory dropped by both players as well. So right now, pseudo mirrored build orders. The supply count is basically evened. The only difference, we got a single guy in a suit with a gun at the natural expansion comparatively, and honestly, that's just not enough to abuse either direction across the field. So, and yeah, pretty quiet and standard. The question will be, are we just going to see 2 at cross positions? Are we just going to see more passivity and 2-fac? Or is a player, because it's retro, going to go for something? I'm actually would be kind of interested to see double machine shop, but skipping vulture altogether, and instead going for, I don't know, larger glut of siege tanks potentially. But we got 3 factories, so it looks like it's going to be 3 factory vulture on one end. Gypsy's setting up for 3 factory vulture on the other, although it hasn't got that 3rd factory down quite yet. 2 vultures already out in the front, and this is where it ends up being there's a little bit more leeway because it is cross position. But and he also sees the 3 Marines, and he's going to get the earlier scout there. And this is again kind of a different. I actually should have mentioned that difference because that second Marine was produced. You can see the difference in timing of how long it takes this barracks to make its way across to get the scouting information. But Artosis is going to spot that 3rd factory as well. And now Gypsy using that opportunity with the spotting to kind of fan out and make his way forward. He needs to be careful because if he launches in at a bad angle, he ends up taking that first shot on that good spread wall. And I think is able to scout that, and he's going to sit back, recognizing that he's not going to be able to find any pressure there. 4th factory for Artosis though, and is he going to drop a 5th? So now he's playing the let's see if it even goes up to 5. 4th factory here basically means he potentially just wants to go for a run over with a superior amount of vultures, get vulture speed, and just go vulture versus vulture, have better micro, and run your opponent over through superior production at cross positions. Now, vulture speed could negate, I mean, they're just really, really fast units. It might catch Gypsy off guard because it is cross position. By the way, Artosis is already getting a bonus on this, flooding the 12 o'clock location and wiping out a couple vultures there. But this is basically, I think that's the play. It's a lot of vultures earlier. Gypsy starting to make his way out on the map. If he switches into a siege tank, so he's got a siege tank building, as soon as he gets 3 siege tanks out, that's when that kind of flips. It is possible that Artosis will go for the opposite flip, which is just build a lot of vultures, eventually get mines, and then he's already got speed, and man, they're already across the map. We'll see if the closer defense point will work better for Gypsy here. So Artosis looking to flood, spreading out at a distance, and using that range, able to shut down that second gas, actually. I kind of like this, just parking right there. Now dropping a huge amount of mines at that natural expansion. How many vultures? So we don't have a full control group here, but we do have a full control group opposite side. And Artosis is actually just after the first control group going to sit back. Felt like he got a little bit of delay on gas. Now more vultures fanning out. I guess he just wants to get the mine complement out before he sacrifices the rest. He's getting his gas up as well. And it looks like he is, with this vulture attack force, feeling like Gypsy can't press into him and stop anything, going to grab that 12 o'clock base. Second siege tank out. Siege tech also upgrading. So Gypsy, I don't know if this is siege tech for defense or if this is siege tech for aggression, though. Right now, though, Gypsy up 10 workers in the space of it. Artosis cutting a few workers to scoot out a couple additional vultures, actually sending a vulture in that he felt like could spare, just kind of scout things out. Let's see if he regathers that attack force and goes for a dive at a particular moment. I'll be interested to see how well. I feel like once that 3rd siege tank's out, that's when this really kind of shuts down for Artosis being able to just dive at that natural expansion. And this is just kind of caster instinct. So a little bit of comsat. Now Artosis is going, but the 3 siege tanks are there. 2 of them sieging, 1 remaining unsieged. And a nice pile underneath for Gypsy. And Artosis trying to focus fire down what he can, but having to back out as that 3rd siege tank siege. So I think, yeah, that the timing just a little bit missed. Nice response there from Gypsy. I think if he had gone with 2 siege tanks, it might have been... And this is just, I don't know. I'm not... I trust Artosis more than I do myself in this space. But 3rd base is going to get up a lot rapid. The SCV count closing a little bit. It's a 4th factory is getting dropped. 3 machine shop follow-up from Artosis to fill in that siege tank count immediately. Very interesting. And he does have enough vultures where he should be able to keep Gypsy back. Gypsy now sitting at 4 siege tanks. He's going to try to grab his 6 o'clock. Ooh, mine's getting a huge blast right there. Nice overall. And the vultures sneaking into the 6 o'clock location to create potentially some havoc. Although did he catch Gypsy making his way across? So we got 2 siege tanks there. We don't have any defense, however, at the natural expansion, and the vultures are out of position. Where were the I was expecting some mines back here. So Artosis surprisingly allowing a handful of units. Man, these SCVs could get bushwhacked. Yeah, this is enough of a task force. So slip through the lines. Artosis just missed it, and he's going to lose a handful of SCVs, and this is actually putting him at a significant deficit as far as worker count goes in between. So, and also leaving the 6 o'clock location as the vultures were cleaned up. Oof. Okay, so now Artosis, he absolutely needs to hurry up and start queuing up SEVs. He's got 3 bases, but a much crippled economy in comparison. And we do have we got 5 factory behind this. And unfortunately, Artosis didn't reposition the vultures. Okay, now he's moving again with if he was up on the high ground prior to Gypsy going for this, that would have been a tough evict for Gypsy potentially, but now making his way into this as Gypsy's already in position because he pulled out of position because of those earlier vultures. That's unfortunate. And now just trying to siege. And so bad things. And this is before he was able to equalize that SCV count underneath, unfortunately. Barracks going ahead and spotting all of that some more. Maybe he can shoot the gap this time, although we do have, again, that magic. I feel like it's a magic number. He's got 3 siege tanks and a 4th siege tank retreating to go ahead and fend those vultures off. No 5th factory as of yet from Artosis. Again, he just really needs to focus on getting the SCV count back and healthy. Instant a little bit too early a saturation. Looks like a mine might have been interrupting the landing sequence here. So Artosis finding a potential bit of breathing room, but Gypsy starting to slow walk his way with siege tanks out to the 3 o'clock. And in comparison to the contain in the previous match, looks like he's able to clear up the 6 o'clock now. In comparison to the contain on the opposite map, Gypsy up 10 supply, and Artosis doesn't have kind of the artifacts in the way to and also the positioning advantage where it kind of have to walk into it to make it work for him. I don't think. Ooh, couples. Careful siege tanks. Always got to hold your breath in the space of that. So we got 5 siege tanks out here versus 4, but that's also seeding that 3 o'clock with some mines in the way. And Artosis is yet to take his 4th, and knowing Gypsy, he's very readily going to expand into that. That barracks is repositioning out to the 3 o'clock. Nice movement there from Artosis to engage the vultures as they're trying to sweep out to the 12 o'clock. Worker count somehow in the midst of this, nice play, has evened. Gypsy has gone for a drop, and this is going to, as Artosis trying to do the counter Wraith play that he saw previously. I don't think this is going to end up working. Oh, and this is kind of I don't know if I want to, and this is where this is really going to catch Artosis off guard. Is he going to have a Wraith out? So this is the worst timing for Artosis. I got to say, this is kind of bad luck is what it comes down to. I know he complains a lot about bad luck, but if he had if he had this even 20 seconds earlier, this would have been 2 Wraith out in the field to deal with this drop, and that would have completely nullified this drop. And instead, this drop's going to go in and just get a massive amount of damage done. He's got to wait for a cycle, completely catching him off guard. This is right as he was able to equalize that worker count. Yeah, just totally caught by surprise. Nice defense with the SCV right there, able to clean it up, but he's still going to end up losing a handful of troops, having a little bit and then dropping again below that SCV count. And this is as Gypsy's able to grab that 3 o'clock base and start eking ahead economically. In the meantime, he's dropped a slew of factories. He's gone up to the 3 machine shop late game count as well. Here's some explosions happening someplace, and Gypsy going to go ahead and sweep across while Artosis is distracted and walk through that lower containment, which is also going to deny that 9 o'clock, and he's already got that upper right-hand base denied by that barracks. A couple Wraith making, and the other thing is Gypsy also got an eye of the Wraith being produced. So I'm wondering if he's got some Goliath. It looks like he had some Goliaths in production. It's going to take a minute for them to cycle out here. Artosis might have an opportunity. Ooh, a little bit too far forward. Now sieging in to peck away at this. Some vultures are trying to, some SCVs trying to make their way forward to keep these siege tanks alive in the space with some repair. That's not going to happen. Artosis now bullying down. This will hopefully open up both the 9 o'clock for him and maybe give him purchase to attack the 6 o'clock. But another wave underneath, and you have this nice cross section right here where Artosis has to hold up short. This is a very vulnerable attack point. And it looks like there's just too many siege tanks out here. So Artosis is going to have to hold, but no anti-air as of yet. The Wraith's still able to peck away at this. Might be able to equalize things. I know there were Goliaths queued up. I'm kind of waiting for them to take field. Some SCVs making the way. Ooh, and actually getting some splashes. The SCVs trying to repair underneath. Here's the thing, Wraith do not do damage rapidly. So that actually, I was about to say, might save that siege tank. They're just a few seconds too late. 3 Goliaths now making the way in. That should be the end. Oh, Cloak going up. There is a turret here at the 6 o'clock, though. And these siege tanks, this positioning's got to be annoying for Gypsy. Fortunately, they managed to sneak in underneath after a shot. But critically, what's happened here is Gypsy's managed to secure that 3 o'clock. Artosis has not secured a 4th base for himself as of yet. Dropship will get wiped out. Comsat right there going to be able to clear out the Wraith pretty rapidly. Yeah, by there. So we got the clump of 3 not really going to threaten this 6 o'clock. The 9 o'clock not yet up. Sizable supply lead for Gypsy as well, because he's had the 4th base to work with and he's got the infrastructure underneath to make it roll. +2 weapons, by the way, +1 armor, so an upgrade advantage as well. And that +2 weapons is just great, honestly, for Gypsy. Artosis is now taking that 9 o'clock, but it just feels really, really late. And this is also the kind of the transition point. Oftentimes in TVT on Retro, you're not thinking about taking another quadrant in the space of this. You're thinking about shutting your enemy down just because of the architecture of the map. And Gypsy's starting to make those moves now, again with the 20 supply lead across that 3 o'clock corner. This is fortunately away from the 9 o'clock, which would have shut down that 4th, but still getting a massive drop on Artosis' troop. Artosis doesn't look like he had troops to fill in, and he's got just 3 siege tanks to try to cover this in the mid, and he's also trying, and this feels late. I don't even know that Gypsy needs to siege to walk through this. Yeah, taking out those siege tanks very, very rapidly underneath. So now claims the entire center of the map is now up 40 supply. Doesn't need to worry about those siege tanks to the south because they're just not going to have enough to punch through. And this is the steamroll attack train now to Artosis' natural expansion. 50 supply lead now. And yeah, Gypsy's macro just kicking on with that 4th base really, really strong. And there's GG. Well played by Artosis. Tough way to drop to the lower bracket. In the meantime, Gypsy clearly will continue in the upper bracket. Hope you guys enjoyed it. Thank you for listening.